Good morning. Hi, Sean. Oh man, I hope you guys had an amazing Labor Day. I'm still recovering, but had a very good Labor Day weekend. Spent it with family, which was amazing. But now trying to get back into the swing of things. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Maggie. Good morning. Hi, Stacy. Oh man, are y'all awake? I'm still trying to wake up, which is no excuse because it's 10 a.m. Should already be awake. And I know some of y'all are trying to probably go to bed. Oh, okay. Let me try. Justina, let me know if I said that correctly. Hi, Sue. Hi, Imperial Niesel. Hi, Charlotte. Thank you, Maggie. I appreciate that. Well, today we are back working in the Fairfield. I know last time we live streamed, we worked on furniture because I needed a little bit of a break, which was good because sometimes you just have to take a break from a project if you're just not feeling it. Bonjour, Valerie. Hi, Pamela. Oh no, be safe. Please be safe. I'm guessing you are in Florida. Please be safe and take care of yourself. Hi, Angela. But yes, we took a break from the Fairfield. We are back working on the Fairfield. I highly suggest if you are getting a little bit burnt out on a project to just let yourself take a break. Because I have been there where I pushed myself too hard and then I took too long of a break from a project because I was just sick of it. So took a little break from this one, and but now we're back and we're going to be working on the baseboards. Not the whole time. I'm just going to kind of show you my basic how I put baseboards in, and it's not very fancy at all, so it won't take up too much time. And it's basically the same way that I do crown molding, especially if I'm doing something that's not very fancy. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to do some half-scale bricks on the fireplace. Hi, nerd girl. Okay, Pamela, be safe. Make sure, take care, and get out of the way of that mess if you can. Hi, Angelina. All right, so I'm going to show you what I've done. I haven't done a lot since the last time we worked on this, and I'm going to tell you I look a little bit like I have the plague here. I'm just letting you know I got attacked by mosquitoes, and I'm fine. I'm not sick or anything. I've just got a few bites here, but you're going to see them, and they're kind of itching me, so I'm hoping they're not too red. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Rob. All right, so I went ahead, this is what we painted on stream the last time we worked on the Fairfield, and I went ahead and glued this guy in, so it's pretty solid attic floor. And I don't know if I had glued this piece in yet last time we worked on it, but this piece is officially glued in, and it's a little wonky, but it's an attic floor, so we're just gonna go with it, and I think it's gonna be okay. But of course, if you've watched from the beginning of this project, the whole thing ended up being just a little bit wonky, but it's supposed to be an old house, so some sloping floors are going to be okay. Hi, Teresa. I don't think I did anything new over here, but I did go ahead and get this floor put in down here. And I don't know if you remember, but this was in 2 pieces. So it took me quite a bit of finagling to kind of match it up here and behind the fireplace back here, but I laid it down so that it fits snug on either side, and then I just kind of cut away at the little floorboard pieces until everything kind of fit together like a puzzle. And I don't know if you can hear in the background, but my dog is happily playing with the toy, and it's probably the noisiest toy that we have, so sorry if that's distracting, but it's keeping her happy, so we're just gonna go with it. So today I'm going to put in some floorboards, and I think this room is still going to be the easiest room for you guys to see. And I've tried to set up the lights and everything so that you guys can see really well. If you're new, you might be wondering what this is. This is our green shag carpet. And so I definitely want to put in floorboards because as you can see from an up top view, there is like a little crack here. And so floorboards are really nice. They make a really great transition from the flooring to the wall and cover up any of those little extra bits that are just like showing through. So that's why I always suggest doing floorboard or baseboards. I think they're the same thing, floorboards, baseboards. Hi, Bad Wolf. Baseboards and breakfast. Hi, Darnell. Okay, so what I'm using is I have some craft wood here, and I think it is about a little bit thinner than like one of those really thin craft wood sticks. So you could probably use craft popsicle sticks if you wanted to. You can get ones that are about this thin, but this is actual craft basswood that I purchased, and it is, I'm thinking it's about an 1/8 inch by a 1/16 inch dowel, or not, or is it called a dowel if it's not round? I don't know, y'all have to let me know. Aw, 2 Cavalier King Charles puppies. They're the cutest. I love King Charles puppies. Good morning, Hannah. Okay. All right, y'all can't hear the toy. Well, this microphone barely picks me up half the time, so I'm not surprised that you can't hear it, but like I said, it's keeping her happy, although she may make an appearance later. She does like attention, so. So what I usually do is I kind of find a piece that looks in scale to me, and this looked the most in scale. And what I typically do is just go around the room slowly, and I do try to just go a piece at a time and just cut it as I go. Because if I try to cut everything all at once, what happens is things don't typically end up fitting because there was an error along the way, especially if you want to make bevels or where it kind of fits together in the corner. If you mess something up and you try to cut everything before you put the pieces in, it can get really, really frustrating. So this is kind of maybe like the long way to do it, but it's the way that I do it so that I don't have to redo it. Oh, strip wood. Okay, I figured the dowels were only round ones. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Catherine. Oh, okay. Someone says round or square. I'm not sure. One thing I do for the wood before I paint it, because I do paint it before I put it in, because that's just way, way easier, is I take my X-Acto knife and I just kind of slice off one of the corners, because most baseboards kind of have like, so if this is the wall, pretend my arm is the wall. This is going to be not the most fantastic demonstration here, but most baseboards have kind of a like edge that kind of goes in. Is it chamfered? Beveled? There we go. Beveled edge at the top. And so it's straight and then it bevels towards the wall. So that's kind of the look I'm going for. Of course, most of the time the houses I'm working in are really old, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm sure there's a way to make those beveled edges look perfect, but for me, I just like to slice off a little bit of the square edge. And let's see if I can get you in a little bit closer for that. There we go. And so what I do basically is I just go really slow. If you go too fast, you can slice off more, especially when your wood is this small. And I'm cutting away from myself this time using my smarts, and I just go a little bit at a time, and that's going to probably be really hard to see. But this still has the hard edge, and this is just beveled very, very slightly. And this is going to give it more the look of a baseboard. Let's see if I can show you the end here. if the camera will let me. So I'm just slicing off, barely slicing off the corner here to make it look more like a baseboard you would probably purchase to put into your home. So I'm going to carefully do this along the edge here and just go down bit by bit. Oh. She likes to steal my calendar. I don't know why. Bit by bit, and just slowly take this off. And again, I say this all the time because it's probably what I do all the time, but I like to do stuff like this, put on a good movie and just take my time. And yeah, usually by the end of the movie, I'm like, wow, I got a lot done. Yes, you probably could use an emery board also, because it's such a small bevel. You could definitely do that. And you could probably do it even after you cut it. But I know that I'm going to use this entire piece for baseboards, so I'm going to paint this entire piece all at once. So I'm just going to go slowly. We're about halfway down this guy so far. So it really doesn't take that long. And you can get a pretty steady result if you practice doing it. And I think probably the nicer craft wood is going to be easier to do this on. It may be more difficult with craft sticks to do this. That's where the emery board might be a little bit easier, because I find that like craft popsicle stick type stuff, a lot of that seems to crack and splinter a little bit more. Oops. See, I went a little bit too much on that one. So it's kind of a gentle, steady hand on getting the bevel on this guy. And this is so small, I'm going to have to really focus and make sure that I get this side up. And again, this may not be a detail that anyone really truly sees inside a half-scale project. I don't know, because I've never finished a half-scale project. But I know that it's done correctly. And this is exactly how I do it on my 12-scale projects, just with a piece that's about twice this size. So y'all have to let me know if you had a good Labor Day weekend and what you did, if you did anything fun. I went and visited my parents, and that was our birthday present to my parents. All the kids came in and helped do some things around the house, and it was really fun. We had a lot of fun. Of course, we worked, but we had a lot of fun visiting and catching up on memories and stuff. And so it was a good weekend, but I am tired. All right, so I have this entire thing done. Let me zoom. Whoop, that's the wrong way. Zoom back out here. And now I'm going to paint this guy. And I remember asking y'all probably for like a 70s or Victorian type house, what color the baseboards would be. And I think we all came up with the dark brown. Most likely they would be a wood color. So I'm going to stick with the dark brown that I've been using for everything else, pretty much for the floors and everything. So it'll kind of all match together. So let me get my paint out. I don't know where she went. Family is everything. It's great to just get away and spend time with family. For sure. Okay, so where are you? Oh, there you are. I found her. This is my first live stream with Stormy, so, well, I think, yeah, we had her the last live stream, but it was at night, so my husband was here and he was watching her. It's my first live stream where she's my responsibility solely during the live stream, so I gotta keep track. Okay, so I'm really only going to be painting the front side, and then I'm going to be gluing the back. Of course, if you're going to be staining, you can just like stain the whole thing if you wanted to. I know, I hear you. You're okay. I'll get you in a second. I'm painting. Sorry, I'm going to be talking to my dog. Anybody else talk to their pets while they're working? I know, hold on. She's still pretty much a puppy, so she needs lots of attention. Trying to make sure that y'all can hear me this time. I did have someone make a comment that they had a hard time hearing me in the last one, so I have my face pretty close to the microphone today. But if I get too far away, just let me know. X-Acto used to put out a kit with a microplane that was perfect for that. Came in a wood case. Oh, well, that's awesome. I have to look that up and see if they actually still have that around. Like, maybe it's not in a kit anymore, but maybe you can still purchase that. Aw. Stormy, Radley, and Roxy say hi. I'll pick her up in a second. Y'all can see her. Right now she's playing with my shoe. It is very much like having a toddler around. Again. Lots of attention. I talk with my pets all the time. My pig talks back. Oh, you have a pig? That's so cute. Is he a big pig? Or she? I had friends with a pig, and I know it's a very unique experience to have a pet pig. Alright, so I'm almost done drying or painting this, and it should dry pretty quickly. And then we have one piece ready to go. And usually one coat of paint will do it pretty good. You can possibly just sand it afterwards. I'm not going to really worry about it because this piece is so small, but typically on the bigger pieces, after you paint, the wood grain just really stands up and it kind of splinters up. And so it's a really good idea after your first coat of paint, especially acrylic paint on wood, that you give it a good sand and then a second coat of paint, because it will really make the fibers in your wood stand up, and that'll kind of put your stuff out of scale. So oh no, Elena, please be careful. Be safe. We have Egyptian Mau cats. Our eldest, Niesel, will bark like a dog to get our attention. I'm not sure what an Egyptian Mau looks like. That sounds very interesting. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for just a minute. Okay, hold on. Tried to put it in a simple spot, but I don't think it's gonna stay there. I am gonna take the excess paint off with a paper towel. That will help it dry just a little bit faster and keep any excess paint from getting onto the carpet while we're trying to place it down. My pig is named Pork Chop. My mom named him, and he's a potbelly the size of a larger medium dog. Oh wow, that's so cute. It's kind of a funny name for a pig. A little dark, but funny. Okay. So, one of the tools I'm going to get out that I always use for baseboards, you can do this by hand with with an X-Acto knife, but I always find this way easier. And I know you guys, a lot of you guys have already seen me use this tool several times. It's got hot glue all over it for some reason. But this is an easy cutter. And I went ahead, because people always ask me about it, I went ahead and in the description of the stream, I put a Amazon link for this guy. So if you like this tool or you think it would be helpful to you, you can find it really easily. But this is a tool that I have used since being in college, because we worked with wood all the time. And I just use this for everything. It's really nice because it has all the angles marked out for you, and you can just really easily adjust it so that you can get some accurate angles. And I really like this one because it does have this piece where you can take the top part off, and then you can actually get sharpen this, so you don't have to buy a new tool when it goes dull. You just have to sharpen the blade, and then you're ready to go again. So this is my easy cutter, and I use it for all my wood cutting needs. It can cut up to about a half inch diameter thing. So for miniatures, it's really handy. If you're cutting things that are a little bit bigger, it's not so handy. You'll probably need like an actual saw. But for baseboards, this guy is perfect. So this should be dry enough to handle. It's dry enough to handle. And I'm going to put this guy in here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put a 45-degree bevel on this end. And hi, Tanner. I'm going to go ahead and put a bevel on this end, so it's actually going to have an angle. This is going to be really hard to see since this is so tiny for half scale. I'm going to put a 45-degree angle like this, and I'm going to show you how I can adjust my easy cutter for that. So I can turn this guy so that it says 45 degrees right here. And then these pieces are where I put my wood. I put my wood up against this. I just open up the blade. Make sure that my beveled side is up. Put this guy in. Is that the way I want it? Got to think about it. Nope, I need it to go the other way. Okay. Sorry. Had to think about it. Put this guy in and then chomp down like so. Oops, sorry. I hope I didn't hit anything I shouldn't have. And then I should have a 45-degree cut on this piece right here. And this is going to go up into the corner of the room. And then the next piece I'll cut again, and it should perfectly fit into the corner like most baseboard type stuff does. Sorry, I hit something on my computer. All right, let me know if I turn something off. All right, so let me pull this forward so you can kind of see how this works. Where are you? Okay, I'm sorry. Someone needs attention real quick. Come here. Come here. Here's Stormy. We went outside earlier, so I was hoping she'd be a little... What is that? What is it? I was hoping she'd be a little worn out, but apparently she's not. I know. She actually didn't go with us this weekend, so she was missing me just a little bit. Can you say hi? I can't really see you, I'm sure. This is about how big she is. I'm not going to put her on my desk because I don't want her to touch anything. She's about half the size of the Fairfield. Yeah, what are you doing? I need you to go play with your toys, okay? Can you do that? Go play with your toys? Okay, go play with your toys. We'll go outside again in a few minutes, okay? Just a little bit. All right. So, I'm going to pull this guy forward, and I'm going to put it into the corner. So that 45-degree angle is way back here in the corner, and it's going to be ready for another baseboard to go back there. But I can go ahead and mark this guy. Oh, they said hi. Yeah, they said hi. Okay, so I'm not sure how I'm going to finish this edge right here, which is kind of an issue for my brain because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off at, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. She does not want me to not pay attention. Look, I can't do this with you in my lap. Come here. Come here. Okay, we're going to try to miniature with a dog in our lap. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So I'm going to put this guy right here. And then I'm going to mark. Are you going to help me? I got to hold the pencil still. I'm going to mark at the edge. No! I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. Oh my goodness. Puppies make really exciting life changes for sure. All right. Good morning, Mia Gothful. Just trying to make miniatures with the dog in my lap. Just normal day, the Bentley house here. All right, so I'm gonna cut this guy. No. Luckily there's nothing on here that's too dangerous for her. Except for she's licking the dollhouse. But this guy I just cut and he's going to go like so. Now I'm not going to completely glue it in until I have two pieces in. That way I can make sure that I like how it's looking. I know. But I need you to go play. Can you go play? Please? Just for a little bit. Go play. Go play. Go get your toy. Go get it. All right. So now we're going to do the next piece. This is going to be a little bit more difficult because I can't get this entire piece into the room because it is just a little bit too long. So I am going to kind of cut it down to what I think it is, just a little bit longer so that I can cut it off later. So it's going to be just a tiny bit of waste, but this way I can get an exact size that I need for this wall here. So I'm going to cut this guy right where I marked it. So this piece should be too long, and it definitely is. Oh, y'all can't see. So this piece is too long, but that's okay because I need a little bit to work with. And I'm going to put another 45-degree angle on this guy using my easy cutter. I just got to think about the way it needs to go. So it needs to go this way. No, it needs to go this way. I can't tell you how many times I've messed myself up with which way the 45-degree angle needs to go. But that's why I like this guy, because it can turn both ways. And so that helps me out a lot. So now I have another 45-degree bevel on this end here, like so. And then it should fit. So basically these two pieces, I didn't glue this one in yet, will fit together like this, mostly perfectly in the corner. With my work, there's nothing quite perfect, but mostly perfectly in the corner, like a like an accurate baseboard. Hi, Andy. You got an easy cutter too. It's so helpful for cutting the dowels. Yes, it is amazing. I can't think of cutting small wood pieces any other way after having it. So yes, I definitely highly suggest it. Obviously, you know, if you prefer power tools or using your X-Acto knife, you can do pretty much the same thing. It just makes things just a tiny, tiny bit easier. All right, so now I've got these two pieces put in like so. And the tricky part is I also need to bevel this guy, and it's going to be kind of the same direction, this guy, but it's going to meet a piece that's coming from this direction. So you kind of have to put it together in your head like a little bit of a puzzle to try and figure out exactly which way you need to bevel the floorboards so that everything fits together at a 90-degree angle. Now, if you have walls that aren't 90 degrees, that's a whole nother ball game. So, but because everything here is 90 degrees, that makes it a tiny bit easier. So I'm going to make just a mark where the edge of that wall is, and I know that my bevel needs to go this way. So hopefully we can do it. Hi, Elaine. I use my paper cutter to cut thin wood. Yes, that I actually, Dolphin Magic Pro has started a miniatures YouTube channel, and he had a lot of really good ways to make sure that you're cutting wood straight. So you guys should go check out his videos. And yeah, I did see you do that, and I thought that was a really cool idea. Hi, Elaine. Okay, so I'm going to cut this guy right here, starting at the place where I marked it, which should be where the edge of the wall is. So this is how my piece looks. And I've got an angle here and an angle here. So this goes back into my house like so. And everything should pretty much match up. Now I am going to go ahead and glue this guy and this guy because I am happy with how they look so far. And then I can keep going, because if I keep just making loose pieces, things can shift around. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue this guy, and I have my, just trying to make sure I don't have any little bits of stuff that's not supposed to be in there, because I don't want it to accidentally get glued in. But I can get all these guys glued in. I'll know that they are correct, and then I can keep going with my baseboards around the house. Okay, so I'm just going to use tacky glue for this, and I also have my these guys, clamps. Let's see. So I'm going to also, again, make sure that my beveled edge of my floorboards is up. That's very important. Otherwise, it was kind of a wasted step, and it could look a little silly, especially if you're going around flooring that's flat. But honestly, like, half scale is just so tiny, it's hard to kind of keep track of. And I don't have like the best eyesight, so I definitely have to keep checking over and over again. Okay, so I'm going to put this guy in here. And these can be a little difficult to clamp down, but I'm going to try my best, at least to clamp it on this side. No, no. Don't eat that. Okay, so I'm going to clamp this over here on this side. I'm going to see if I can clamp the other side as well, like so. So I just clamped this one through the window, and then clamped this guy on this side, and then this shorter guy right here that we already cut. Make sure that I have the right side up, and he's going to be really difficult to clamp because there's not really a place where I can get a clamp in there. So I'm just going to try my best and kind of keep an eye on it to make sure that it doesn't pop off and it's sticking really, really well to the wall. So I'm going to add on some glue. And then I'm also going to put some glue on this little 45-degree cut here so that it glues to the piece next to it. I try to make sure that all the extra glue is off of my fingers as best as possible. It's always a delicate balance. And I do if the best that I can, I want to kind of push it down into the carpet if I can. Well, that was too much. Hold on. This wall has something interesting going on with it. So this is not the easiest thing to do. Like I said earlier, this Fairfield has kind of gone together a little bit wonky just because of the way the wood is. But we're powering through and just working with what we got. And because it's half scale, it's very tiny, and so you just kind of got to squish your arms in there to make sure that you can get everything in. All right, it's gonna maybe have a little bit of a gap, but we'll see. You could use an extra piece of wood up against the wall and clamp that, but it may be a little fiddly. Yeah, it's always, I think it's kind of an art sometimes, an art to clamping of how to get stuff. Like you can clamp something else to hold something in place. This wall itself is just extremely, extremely awkward. It's like a weird shape, and I think some of the carpet got glue on it, and so it's not working. It's not working with me, but I think we got it in there, and I think it's looking okay. I'm gonna hold it up so you guys can see a little better what I'm doing. So already I think it's adding definitely a little finesse to that area. It's helping the transition from the floor to the wall. And I think that's its purpose in real life as well. It means people who are finishing your walls don't have to be as exact, or make sure that everything is perfectly in perfectly 90-degree angles. It just kind of helps make a better transition. Hi, Spiritual Casino. We're just working on baseboards. I'm just going to try and do this room, and then I'm going to make a switch over to try and do some bricks. Some very, very tiny bricks. So, all right, so now we're going for this inside piece right here. So this one again is going to be just the tiniest bit tricky. But I do think I don't have to cut off a small piece. I can kind of lay it in like so. And this is going to have to be another 45-degree cut because it's going to connect with one that's back here. So I'm going to use my easy cutter guy for that. And again, I have to think about which way it's supposed to go. Is that right? Yes, maybe. Yes. Okay. No, I did that wrong. Okay. Luckily, I can just recut it. Like I said earlier, it's like figuring out a puzzle for it to all go together. Actually, wasn't I supposed to turn one of these windows into a door? I think I was going to do that, and I never did. Well, I'm just going to continue with the flooring. Yeah. I'm just going to keep doing the baseboards because I'm not sure I had completely made my mind up about that. Couple dabs of super glue and wood glue, old carpentry trick for a quick grab. Yes, that is a good trick because, yeah, you definitely want it to get on there and not move. Try T-pins into floor in front of molding and then pull out when dry. Well, that's a good idea too. I don't know if I have any T-pins at the moment, but that is a good idea because then that would definitely hold it tight. Okay. I'm going to cut this a little bit long at first, hopefully. so that I don't have to recut it. But this should be the same angle as the other one. I'm gonna cut a little long, err on the side of it being a little long, so that I can always cut off more if I need to. And actually, it is the correct size, so I'm glad I did that a little longer than I thought I needed to. Otherwise, it'd be a little too short. Is this? Okay. For a second, I thought that wasn't glued in. That's not good. All right, so I'm gonna glue this guy in. And after this video, after this live stream, I think we're done with walls and floors, because I'll just do the rest of the baseboards on my own time, because it, you know, like, I'm sharing the information now, but watching me do all the rooms is not going to be the most fun content. And then I do the crown moldings the same way, just the house is basically turned upside down. But I haven't painted the ceilings or anything yet. And I think I'm just going to do very basic ceilings, especially in a half scale house. I feel like in my Adams house, it's 12 scale and it's very tall. A lot of people will see the ceilings. So I paid a little bit more attention to how the ceilings looked and how they were finished. But in this house, I just don't think a lot of people will be looking at the ceilings, just because you'd have to get like really down low to see anything. So audio a little low. Let me get my earplugs. I'll try and make sure that I'm talking into the microphone. Y'all let me know if you can't hear me. I think I just need to get a new microphone, I think, is the issue, because I'm just not a very loud person. I think it's part of the problem. And so me talking loudly is just not something I naturally think to do. And this microphone, I mean, it's turned up all the way, and I've always struggled for it to pick me up. So it may not be y'all's issue, it may be my issue with microphone issues that I've had for a while. All right, so I'm gonna clip this guy. Whoops, sorry, that was probably loud. I'm gonna clip this guy through the window again here, like so, and show you. So that guy's clipped down right here. If there's a window, it's actually not too difficult to clip it down. The only thing I think might be hard is for me to get my hand back here. So, okay, Marcia can hear me. That's good. Yeah, I just, I don't know. Audio is just constantly a struggle when it comes to videos. Even like when I'm putting in music, I've gotten complaints that the music is too loud, and it's just constant struggle. I try my best. And then we had that audio problem with the stream for just so long. And thankfully, my husband was able to figure something out. And so far, it's been working. So, yay. Oh, good. Okay. I never know. And I used to have to pull the live stream down. I don't know if y'all been here as long as that. I used to have to take the live stream down, and then I had to boost all the audio, and then I had to put it back up after that. All right, so this is interesting. I think I'm gonna have to base it off of this measurement up here and then just slowly cut it down. This is gonna be the most awkward part of putting in these baseboards, because I just can't get to this area at all. All right, so I need to make it go like this. Right now, y'all just hearing me talk out loud about my thought process when it comes to baseboards. It's just like, which way does this go? Okay. All right, so see if this fits. I may have to cut it down even more. Yep, got to cut it down just a little bit more. And I'm just going to cut it a little bit at a time because I don't want to overcut it and then have a piece that's not useful. Ooh, and that's about perfect. Ooh, that is perfect. Okay, so I'm going to put glue on that guy. This is a Fitbit. So it has a watch function on it, and but it also counts like my steps. And I find it really helpful because it helps me know, especially since I have a job now where I sit and I make miniatures and I make videos. It just reminds me to get up and walk. And now that I have a puppy, my puppy likes to remind me to get up and walk, so that's very helpful. I'm not a health nut or anything, but not that I think anyone who is into fitness is a nut. Just to be clear, that's like a typical term, health nut. I wish I was a health nut, but I am not. So I just need that little gentle reminder to get up and be active. So it's a Fitbit. So here we go. Get that guy in there, and he's looking okay. Now, one thing I can't do yet is this wall because I don't have the doors in. Should we put the doors in? Do I know where the doors are? What are you eating? What are you eating? I know. Okay. I'm going to look for the door really, really quick. And I think I know where it is. I think it's just right over there. And we'll kind of see if they fit in here. I don't think they do, because I think the one time I tried to fit them in, it was a very not great fit. Health enthusiast. There you go. I wish I was a health enthusiast for sure. Oh, wow. Hi, Munira. Hi, Cynthia. I am using for the baseboards, this is some 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch by 16th inch basswood. And so I just cut it down on one side for the baseboard. If you go back to the beginning, I kind of talk about a little bit about this, about how I prep it just a little bit. I don't do that much prep. But that's what I'm using for the baseboards. And let me find the door. Okay. This is the interior doors that I purchased. And I know I talked about them in one of my live streams. So we'll see. I think I took one out and tried to fit it in. But they're really small. Look how small they are. Just really gives you an idea of how truly tiny half scale is. But I think because of the, I don't even think it fits in width-wise. It really doesn't. It doesn't fit in width-wise or height-wise. So I'm really going to have to cut these down, which is kind of a bummer because the whole point of purchasing them was to make it super easy so you can just stick them in. But no luck on that. Have to cut them all down. So I'm going to see how easy that is so you guys can see, because to finish the baseboards, I probably will have to put the doors in. So I'm just going to go ahead and try and do that now since we're pretty good on time. So try and cut this guy down. So I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife. Let me move in a little bit. I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and start shaving off bits at the side. All of this, it doesn't have to be like super pretty. I don't want to cut it so much that it comes apart because that wouldn't be helpful. But you won't see this very much because it'll be in the wall basically. So I'm just going to try and cut it down. See if I can get the wood off here. So if you do decide to try and purchase these doors, it is kind of a chunk of change. These are the ones that they suggested for this project. So I didn't buy different ones. So you would hope that they would fit, but they don't. Hi, Melody. All right, let me try and get this. I need to cut a little bit more off this guy. And sometimes you do have to do this for 12th scale as well, because I remember having to do a little bit of this for the Addams family. I can't remember which room it was, but I did have to shave down the doors just a little bit. And especially if you're like wallpapering or adding anything to it, sometimes that can add a little bit of stuff to your opening that makes it a little bit harder for the door to just slide in. Well, it kind of fits now a little bit. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm just trying to make sure that I keep the integrity of this piece since it's connected here. Oh, grandkids' first day of school. How fun. Too late now, but I would have cut the opening a little bit bigger. Yeah, I didn't know that the opening wasn't going to work. That's probably a little bit easier than trying to cut these guys down, but it works both ways. Yeah, you could probably sand it too. I do find that this wood is pretty soft, and so doing it this way doesn't really bother me. It might bother some people just because might as well work on the opening. But I'm just gonna do it this way because this is what I've done before. Especially once you do the wallpaper, you're kind of like, I don't really want to mess with the wallpaper again or risk messing it up. It is just kind of a mess though. It's not super fun to do it this way. And it does just kind of like chop up the wood a little bit. But because it doesn't fit on either one, and I really won't be able to get to this back door at all now that it's glued together. So I guess my advice would be that if you do decide to work on the Fairfield and you do decide to purchase doors for it, before you do wallpaper, before you put any walls up, get those doors and check their sizes and then cut them then. Definitely cut them before you put the wallpaper up, because I always hate that risk of maybe messing up your wallpaper work, because wallpapering is just the pits sometimes. Okay, so it fits width-wise, so I am going to chop off a little bit of the top here. I'd rather chop off at the top than at the bottom. So I'm going to try that. And really it's not taking a bunch. It's not taking much to get it to fit, so it just barely doesn't fit. Just barely. So I think this will probably make it work fine. Oops. And that's what I risked doing, was taking off the top piece, but I can glue it back on. So it's not a foolproof plan. It's just a plan. All right, so let me see if I can cut this piece and then get it back on the door. Maybe I can just snap this piece off. Nope. Someone glued this piece very, very well. All right, so now I can get this piece back on here. I think, yep, okay. Like so. And I plan to paint these, so I'm not super worried about glue. If you're going to stain them, you have to be a little bit more careful about glue, because anywhere glue gets, the stain is not going to work. Some wood glues you can stain, so if you're worried about that, you could also use wood glue, but definitely not tacky glue. Stain will not work on tacky glue. but I typically use paint anyway. I have a hard time with the smell of stain. I'm real sensitive to it, so I try to use paint whenever possible. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry just a little bit. I think I am going to do the dark wood doors to match all the other wood that I've done. Is that going to fit? Barely. I think it will though. I might have to cut it down just slightly more. Is this driving anyone crazy what I'm doing? Chopping up a door? What glue is that? I love that you were able to get such a small amount and that it's upside down. This is tacky glue, but it is in a new bottle, and this is my first time I've bought it like this, and I love it. I'm gonna buy my tacky glue in this, and so it sits like this, and it has this little thing like this, and it just stands, and so it keeps the glue at the bottom, whereas these bottles are annoying because you can only stand them like this, and this little lid gets lost all the time, but it's the same exact stuff. And so yeah, I'm buying this from now on, and I'm leaving the gold bottles at the store. I'm just going to buy these guys, but I do have to make a transition between looking for my gold bottle of tacky glue to looking for the gray and purple bottle, because sometimes I can't find my glue and I realize it's right in front of me. I'm looking for the gold bottle. You should try Tattered Angels water-based stains. They work great. No affiliation. Oh, cool. I've never heard of that. I imagine if it's water-based, it probably smells a little bit better. So I should try that out. This door is so frustrating. It's giving me a bit of anxiety watching you cut the door. Yeah, I figured it would a little bit. But once it's in the wall, no one will know that I chopped up the sides. No one will ever know. So I can't really cut down the bottom. This is where the pin is. That's keeping the door in. And I can see a little bit of the pin at the top. So I want to be careful with that. So I think I will probably, y'all can't see anymore. Hold on. Oops. So I probably will sand right here a little bit because I cannot cut the door anymore. I've used an adapter on the tip of the wood glue bottles for a finer line of glue. Oh, that's a good idea. Where do you go to look for glue tip adapters? Because I've seen like glue bottles where you can put the glue in a different bottle and it has like a finer tip, but I haven't seen a glue tip adapter. So let me know. That sounds interesting. Okay, so I'm going to sand this a little bit. So I need to, probably going to use like a file like this. Again, I want to be kind of careful of my wallpaper. So I guess we're installing doors today. Wasn't really my plan, but I had forgotten that you kind of need to put the doors in to do the baseboards, so. Alright, so that's not too bad. I mean, it's not too bad to do that, but I would have to do that a lot if I hadn't. Oh, the other thing you can do to get doors in is you can bevel these corner pieces, because a lot of times the openings of the Dollhouse doors are just slightly curved, because when they cut those pieces out, it's just a little bit of a curve. And so sometimes these corner edges on here can inhibit the door from going in even when it fits. So I'm just going to chop those corners down just slightly to give it a little bit of a better chance of getting in there. And that's true for windows as well. I remember doing that on my Addams Family windows. So all I did was just cut these corners to make them just a little bit more rounded, and I think it should fit in. Oops. Yeah, it's gonna fit in now. I think. We got a door in. It's so exciting. Ta-da! That is exciting. That's the first door. Luckily, there's only 2 interior doors. The rest are like archway openings. So cool. So we can paint this guy. We're going to paint him brown. And then there's another door. Oops. Another door in the back. Thankfully, there's only 2 interior doors. The rest are exterior, which I can get to those a little bit easier to make the opening wider than the interior doors. Hold on. I missed some things. I purchased the glue bottle tips a long time ago. I was like, this is like a mechanical pencil tip. Oh, that does sound really small. Oh, you can get them on Amazon or Hobby Lobby. I use the little glue bottles and add half of the triple thick tacky glue and wood glue. The tips go on the tacky glue bottles? I don't know. It might depend on what kind of glue. Yeah, time to get out the mini Hoover and vacuum the carpet. Very true. I usually keep my handheld vacuum in here, but I don't have it in here. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Yay, it fits. Okay. All right, so I'm going to paint this guy real quick because I think that would be fun to get a door in today. We will get to the bricks, but I think I've decided, I already have paint in here. I think I've decided that, because I just got back into town last night, and so that's already one work day down. And then we had the stream this morning, which I was excited about, but I'm not getting much done for my video, and I try to start editing by tomorrow. So I think I'm going to make my video on the bricks this Friday. So I'm going to start the brick project, but then I'm going to do an in-depth tutorial with a closer look, because it's kind of hard to show you something that small on camera. So this Friday, if we don't get to like everything you want to know about how I'm going to make the bricks in this house today, I am going to put a more in-depth tutorial this Friday, because I just spur of the moment was like, yes, that is going to be my tutorial for this week. I had a different one planned, but I just don't have time to do it this week. Are you painting the door to match the color of the wallpaper? I am painting it to match the floorboards. So this is the same brown I've been using throughout the entire project. And I always suggest, I'm kind of off screen here. I always suggest when you start a new project, make sure that you have a large bottle of the paints that you're using, because if you run out halfway and you can't find that paint anymore, you're going to have a hard time making everything look cohesive. So I have this brown paint on the floors, I have it on the stairs, I have it on the railings and the baseboards, and I'm going to paint the doors with it, and it really kind of helps your project look cohesive. So when you start a project, just make sure you have plenty of the paint that you know you're going to need, so that you can keep using the same colors throughout the project. I ran out of the brown that I started using on my Addams Family originally, and I don't know what color it was. So now I have a few different browns, although it's the Addams Family, so it's not that big of a deal. But I did realize, like, oh, I should have paid better attention before I got rid of the paint bottle, what the exact color was. So I'm just going to paint this guy, and I probably will let him dry and sand him. So we might start working on the bricks while this guy dries a little bit. But because this is supposed to be a Victorian house that it's Victorian house that kind of gets redecorated in the 60s or 70s, I am trying to keep things kind of like a dark wood, so it looks like maybe it was a solid wood door because it would have been solid wood back in the Victorian times. Oops. Okay. No. Sorry, I'll call you back. Okay. All right, I'm going to get this guy painted really, really well. And I really like this brown. It reminds me of chocolate. I think it's called chocolate brown. No, it's called earth brown. It can remind me of earth too, but it really reminds me of chocolate. Okay. I probably, it would probably be a good idea to paint them all at the same time, but as I go and kind of shave them down so that they fit, although I'm kind of shaving off pieces that really don't need to be painted anyway. I don't know. I probably could just paint them all at the same time because I think they all will be a dark brown, although it's only 2 interior doors, and then the rest is really windows. There's like 11, 12, or 13 windows in this entire project, which is crazy. It's a crazy amount of windows. So I might paint them all at the same time and then just slowly go around and custom fit them to each opening. So, but these are just a little bit thick going through the walls, and so I probably will have to make some kind of transition on the inside of the room once these doors are installed. Oops. And I just put my finger in the wet paint. Fantastic. Just a constant battle, keeping your hand out of the wet paint. And I want to make sure I get inside as well, because when the doors open, you can see that part for sure. And I know that the inside of this room where this door is going is the master bedroom, and it's going to completely have wood paneling on the walls. So I really need, that's one wall that's not finished, because I said like all the walls and floors will be finished after this, but that is one that is not finished. But I do think I want to make a video on that, like an actual video on my channel, not just a live stream, because it is quite a process, and I want to make sure that I can cover it all in a video. And typically in a Friday video, I have between, I mean, it could be anywhere between 8 to 15 hours worth of work all consolidated into a shorter video. And that's a lot easier to do than on a live stream, because nobody wants to watch a live stream for that long. And so since it's quite a bit of work, I probably will make that one just into a normal Friday video for you guys. And I'll just say, hey, if you've been following the Fairfield project, make sure you watch Friday's video, because I'll show you how to do the paneling. I can never paint without wearing a little. Yes, I definitely always end up having paint on myself for sure. And you know, I was an art teacher, and I would walk by and the kids would accidentally like get paint on me or something, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, all my clothes are just covered in paint. Everything I own is just covered in paint. It's not a big deal. If you're an art teacher, artist, miniaturist, you're just gonna have paint on your clothes every now and then, and it's fine. It's part of who we are. So this guy is a little bit of work to paint, because it's kind of a detailed door, which is good. You definitely want to have a good looking door, but lots of little surfaces and crevices to paint. And if I had known that we were going to put a door in today, I probably would have painted him beforehand, but I didn't realize. I just didn't think through the process, I guess. Still recovering from the fun weekend. All right, get this guy open. I think the front of the door is getting a little bit dry, but I'll get him finished painting and let him sit to dry, and then we can work on the bricks just a little bit. Like I said, they're going to be super duper tiny, so I'm going to try my very, very best to show you what I'm doing, but bricks and half scale are just tiny, tiny, tiny. And then whatever I don't get to, I will do in a video this Friday. And some of it might be like a repeat. So if you've watched the stream, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I already saw this. So, but hopefully some of it can be some new information or different ways to use the way that I'm going to do bricks. Okay, whoa, knocking stuff over. I'm gonna let that guy dry. And probably, we'll probably be able to install him, I think. And then I'll show you just in general how I put baseboards around a door. Although this door is like right at the edge of the floor. So, should be interesting. It'll be interesting. All right. Just kind of clean off my hands generically here. All right. Put this door over here so I don't keep messing with it. And I just got paint on me again, so that was pointless. And let's see if I can tip this guy over so you can see the part of the house that I plan to put bricks on. And do I need to zoom out again? Probably. Okay. Whoop. Okay. So, what I want to do is make this a brick fireplace on this side and on this side, because I have a wood floor, and this is going to be the living room, and this is going to be the dining room. So I'm thinking a brick fireplace would look really nice, and I think it would look accurate to the time period, I'm hoping. So what I have done, I'm going to let it rest there. Okay. What I have done is I have chopped up pieces of paper, and now in 12 scale, if I was doing this, I would probably use cardstock. Cardstock is just a little bit thicker, and it would give that relief that you need to make it look like there's a brick and then there's a mortar joint on the surface that you're gluing the paper onto. But for this, because it's half scale, I am using just plain computer paper. It should still make the texture of brick, or just the relief, like I said, where there's the brick and then there's the mortar joint that goes around it is kind of just pushed back from the brick surface itself. But in half scale, a lot of times people think about, okay, I just need to take down the dimensions, and that's true because you need to half the dimensions, but you also need to half the thicknesses of materials. So if I feel like, I don't know for sure, but I feel like if I used cardstock for this, the brick would look like it's sticking out too much. I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't tried this, but I feel like it would be sticking out too much, and it would feel like the grout joints were just too deep. So I'm going to be using computer paper, and hopefully that will give me the look that I want, because it's pretty thin, and these are the size of bricks, and I've already cut out a few. I was with it enough this morning to pre-cut a few of them. And these are 2 bricks. Whoops, there goes one. I'm probably going to lose a lot of these. And this is the size brick that I'm going for in half scale. Let me tell you how big they are. It is an 1/8 inch by a 1/4 inch. So an 1/8 inch by a 1/4 inch for a brick in half scale. And this guy is tiny, super duper tiny. And so I'm a little bit nervous about keeping it straight. If it was on a flat surface, that would be a little bit easier because I could draw some straight lines and just kind of eye it. But because I'm working inside of a room on a surface that is already put up vertically, I'm a little nervous about keeping it straight. And I don't know. So it could turn out a little bit wonky. Like I said, I'm going to make this my Friday video, and so I'm going to show those techniques of how to keep it straight before it's in this position. But since I already glued this in, and if I had kind of figured out what I wanted before I put this kit together, I probably could have bricked this fireplace before even starting this entire thing. Kind of like I mentioned with the windows, you want to make sure your windows fit so you can cut on the pieces before you glue everything together. It just makes everything so much more difficult once it's glued together. But at the same time, you have to use, you have to use this fireplace piece here to square up the rest of the dollhouse. This is like the first thing that you put together. And so you have to know, basically when you start out, yes, I want this to be brick, or yes, I want this to, whatever material you want it to be, before the house is even together. And I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time knowing what I want until it's all together. Yes, they are really tiny. Those look like the holes that are cut out when you punch spiral bound booklets. Oh, they do. Maybe if you have a spiral bound book punch, you can just punch a ton of them. They're probably about the same size, for sure. Could you glue them to other paper, then paint it and hang the faux brick wallpaper then? Probably. That might actually be a lot easier. That's a really good idea. Because I could make, the only issue is I have to go around this area, because I want this to look like brick too. So if I didn't have this piece, then I could definitely just kind of wrap it with the brick, like make some brick paper. And I could also make like a, kind of like we did with the Post-its, where I make a template. That's a really good idea. It would probably save me a lot of headache. All right, do you guys think we should make a template and glue it on later, or do you think we should just glue it on the fireplace? Because I'm kind of going back and forth. This is supposed, if you're wondering what this is supposed to be a shelf. So there's little pieces that go in like so. And so I wanted this to look like this was a brick wall just sticking out a little bit further. And then I was going to put like wood shelves in here with books. So I see Patricia suggests to do the template, I'm guessing. Make a template. It's really tempting and sounds like it would be a little bit easier. It's always easier, it's always easier when you can work on a flat surface and then put something in. Template. Okay. Then we're gonna do the template. I see you guys are in agreement, and that was a really good idea, because I was just gonna go for it and probably regret having a wonky fireplace. So let me grab my Post-its, my handy dandy Post-its here, and I'm just gonna do a template like I've done for the floor. And I'm gonna do this side here. And I'm just going to get it as close up to the ceiling. This will also have crown molding going around it. So again, that's another just like the baseboards transition. So if it's not exactly 100% perfect, which this project never will be because of just how wonky it went together. That shelf area would have trim in a real house. You mean trim like wood trim? On like this side? You'll have to let me know. Because I've never had a house with like a built-in bookshelf with off of like a brick piece. So yeah, let me know what you mean. Because I do like to try and make things accurate, so if someone sees it, they're like, oh, that makes sense. So, just trying to line it up as best I can. Okay, I'm gonna have to kind of put it, so what I'm doing is like this, just putting my Post-its all around, and I'm gonna leave this opening. This kit does have this little slot right here, and what this is for is to put the mantle in, and it's just like a piece of wood with a tab and you just stick it in. But I'm gonna make my own mantle, so I'm not super worried about that piece. So by making this brick wallpaper that goes over it, I'm just gonna cover it, and that kind of fixes that problem. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, bye Spiritual Casino. Have a good day. All right, I am going to do this template here. Y'all can't see it anymore. But y'all know what I'm doing. But the nice thing is, because we're making it out of paper, if it does not fit perfectly, I can just keep kind of trimming up the edges until it does fit perfectly. Okay, how am I gonna do this part is the question. I could just cut it out. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna cut the fireplace part out once I get there. Is that right? Is that a good idea? Yeah, I think one template should work, but like I said, it's a little bit wonky, this whole kit. So I'll have to check before I rely on it too much and make like a whole brick piece. All right, so I am going to get just a little bit of masking tape where these Post-its are, sometimes Post-its don't like to stick, for sure. Just going to stick this in there. And also I want to make sure that I mark which side is the top. So I usually do an arrow up, so I know which side is the top of the brick area. Okay, let's see if I can get this off. All right, it looks so tiny, but here's our template. And I'm just gonna put this guy together right here. This is our template for our brick wallpaper. Would it be easier to set the house on the side? If I was working on it, I would definitely set it on its side and then work from the top, but it's going to be a little bit hard for you guys to see because my hands would definitely be in the way. I just found out you did a live video. Will it be on your site so I can see it afterward? Yes, my lives always go up right afterwards. There's a whole playlist called live streams, and this is number 25. So there's 24 other live streams that you can catch up with. I'm always impressed when people are going through the live stream playlist because I'm like, that's a lot of hours of miniatures and me. We all want to get our hands in there, yes. I would mark the hole for the fireplace opening as it may impact the brick placements. Very true, very true. Okay, let me see if I can figure out the best way to do this. I might just measure and then cut. Let me get it. I'm just going to measure from the side. Okay. And then, oops, that one right there. And then the other side, I'm going to guess is about the same. Guessing is not usually the best. We're just going to try it today because it's also a little bit hard to see. Usually I have my lights like basically right here in front of me going in, but then it doesn't make very good viewing for you guys. So if it's just me working, definitely have my lights in different spots. But it'd probably light me up like a horror movie character because I'd be lit from the bottom. If you keep where the fireplace would go, then you can cut it out. Cut the gap smaller to enable you to fold the edges over the gap. Oh, that's a good idea. All right, let me see if this is correct. Almost. Oops, and we lost a piece. That was my fault. Just line it back up. Need to masking tape that guy a little bit. All right, so let me check again. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this guy just a little bit long, like you suggested, so I could fold it over the edge. This is cut pretty accurate to the opening, so I may just have a few bricks hang over the edge, and then I can just kind of like tabs, wrap them inside. Okay, so now I need to get a piece of paper. There we go. This is what I was cutting the bricks out of initially, and I do want to still kind of keep the paper thin because the thicker the paper, just the more bulk I'll end up adding, and I want to keep the thickness down as much as possible so that it looks accurate in half scale. And there's definitely other ways to do this. My first intuition is always just make it out of paper. It's just always my first thought. But that's not always everybody's go-to. So somebody may prefer to make something out of wood like this and then very delicately put the grout lines in with like a wood burner. Or I'm trying to think of other, like some people may decide to make it with polymer clay because you can shape polymer clay really easily. You can lay it out flat. It could be another good option, but I just always think paper. That's just my go-to. And some people just constantly think in polymer clay. Some people constantly think in wood. And I think that's what makes miniatures so interesting because people can get like very similar results. Oh, actually I can cut this on this piece just a little bit wider and do like John, was it John who mentioned? Yeah, then you can fold it in. Okay. So I'm just going to cut it a little bit smaller than the actual fireplace opening, as suggested, because I like that idea a lot. And then, so I just left this tiny bit here. So this should be my template. Again, I am going to, I should know that this side is up because the fireplace is down here, but I also know that this mark is the face so that I don't get it switched around. Oops. Could you use cardstock and score the bricks? You probably could, but once you paint it, you kind of risk losing the scores depending on how deeply you score it. But I find with this method, you for sure have all the pieces. Now this might be a little difficult to see. I'm going to try my best. Actually, I'm going to make the marks like I was mentioning earlier that I will definitely put in my video this Friday. I'll probably just go over this and because this is similar to what I was thinking about doing in my video, was showing you how to make it on a flat surface. So John kind of read my mind, but I definitely appreciate you suggesting to do it here for sure, because that makes it so much easier. I'm just going to transfer the lines that are on my mat here, and I don't have to do it super often. I'm just going to do it every half inch. And this is just going to kind of help me when I'm eyeballing putting the bricks on to keep it straight as I can. Okay, so like that, and then all the way up. I forgot that you're back to morning streams. No worries, it does kind of take a transition for me to get back into the rhythm of morning streams. Because I gotta get kids to school and all sorts of stuff before the stream starts. So definitely a transition. Can you use tweezers to pick them up? Yes. That's probably a good idea. I am not great at tweezers. I feel like I end up like losing things more with tweezers. Well, that was not straight. Let's try again on that one. Okay. Try one more straight line to keep us straight here. And this is a corked backed ruler, which is really nice. Another nice thing to have, because then it doesn't slip as much. It does slip every now and then, as you just saw, but it doesn't slip as much. Let me turn us in. Okay, so the thought here is that you have these tiny little pieces. Now I know this is going to be white on white, so a little bit difficult to see. I wish I had a different color paper to put it on. But what I'm going to end up doing, probably, I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do this. Yes, in the Addams family, you could definitely tilt the bricks. I did some bricks on the in the basement of the Addams family. I think I'm just going to go for it. And the tacky glue will warp the paper just slightly, but because it's paper, you can kind of bend it and shape it. And once you glue it onto the surface, you can just kind of shape it back to what you want it to be. So I'm just going to place these down, kind of thinking about where I want the brick to start. I guess I'll start it on the inside here. And then I'm going to leave a tiny space for the gap for the, whatchamacallit, the grout. Like so. And I think I am going to have some hang off of the edge to wrap around the edge here. I know someone mentioned trim, but I want to make sure that I have an option if I decide that I don't want to do the trim. I'm not quite sure what I want to do is part of the problem. Now, if I find that this brick is just too thin, I may have to do it in cardstock. I really thought cardstock might be a little bit too thick, because I would think that that would work in 12th scale. But I don't know. Half scale is a whole new world for me. I think it will work. I think I put a little bit too much of a gap here, but it's kind of a it's a learning process to kind of figure out what you want. And it definitely will show up way more once you paint it, because the white on white is hard to see. You could probably brush the glue on. I'm kind of being lazy here and just putting it straight on there, because I know whether I brush it on or not, it's going to warp the paper a little bit, but not enough to where it's going to cause problems. I found rolls of cork with sticky backing on Amazon for $4 and added cork to the back of all my rulers. So that's a good idea. If you don't have a cork ruler, just get your own cork. You could probably add it to a ton of things that you don't want to slip around. Not a bad idea. Okay, so I'm just going to put these on a little bit at a time. And I do just default to using my fingers for everything. And tweezers might be easier in this situation. It's because it's gluing paper to paper, it's grabbing really fast. Sometimes you have work time to kind of move it around and get it to where you want it, but it is grabbing super duper fast. So tweezers are a little bit more accurate than fingers. So that may be a better option. Let me grab some tweezers and see, and y'all can laugh at my tweezer skills. It's not great. Okay, let me grab some tweezers real quick. Okay. Ooh, sorry. Okay, there we go. Got some tweezers, and then I've got my bin of bricks here. So I'm just going to go little by little. And the nice thing about paper is if you do feel like you have to go over the edge a little bit, you can just snip it off. So let's see if I can do this. Kind of. Although sometimes I think it's like I just don't have the best tweezers either. I feel like I do way better with my hands, with my fingers than with the tweezers. I'm going to do it with my fingers. Y'all might be better at the tweezers, but I'm just not. And I think that's why I like to keep my nails just a little bit longer, because that's what I use them for. Would it be better to model paint your paper first so you can cut before you cut into the bricks? Then the white grout would be done for you when you glue them down. I like to paint it all at the same time after it's glued down, but I'm sure that works just as well. So if you did decide that you wanted to do it that way, I'm sure it would work. It's just going to be me fiddling around with paper for the rest of the time. It is pretty fiddly work, so I can't imagine trying to do this in the house. Oh my goodness. And it's not even like super straight now. So it probably would get really, really crooked really fast inside the house. So I'm just going to keep going and building up, and I'm going to try and keep the layers as straight as possible. Takes a lot of concentration, it feels like. Okay. All right, so I am going off a little bit on the sides, and now that I'm looking at it, I think the thickness of the paper is going to be okay, but it will be definitely apparent once I paint it. So I guess in Friday's video, you'll know my verdict on whether I felt like the paper was the correct thickness or if I felt like cardstock was better. Because I do know once I paint this, I will see the variation in that there's paper on top of paper, but I just don't know how it's going to look in scale. That's the whole experiment with half scale, is how do you get something to look in scale half the size of normal dollhouse size. At least that's the experiment for me, for sure. There's really good glue for gluing paper to paper, art glitter glue, and there isn't glitter in the glue. Oh, that's good. It has a very fine tip and a little tiny bit of glue goes a long way. I found it on Amazon. Cool. I'll have to look that up, because even though this makes a pretty small line, when you're working on stuff like this, it still can be kind of annoying. Kind of a lot of glue at one time. But really, it's not bending and warping the paper as much as I thought, but I know that I'm kind of pressing it down as it's drying. So here's how it's looking. You can definitely see that there's some grout lines. Probably painting it is what's going to be the thing that kind of warps the paper more than anything. So it'll definitely be an interesting experiment. I did think going into today I was going to be gluing these straight onto the wood, and that for sure wouldn't warp because you're gluing very thin bits of paper straight onto wood. So yeah, this will be an interesting one. And if you have any ideas or suggestions like Andrea had, let me know, because it may influence for sure my Friday video, which I'm going to get started on right after this live stream, because I didn't figure we'd get super far with this just because it's going to be a long drawn out process. But I think the video is going to cover me finishing off this fireplace, so you guys can see how I do that, and also other people, because there's a lot of people who don't join the live streams, but I think half scale bricks could be helpful to a lot of people, because a lot of people are going to half scale because it's just a little bit easier to have in your home than 12 scale projects. All right, so let's go look back at, so y'all kind of got the gist of this guy, and you'll see more on this later. But let's go back real quick to the door, because we only have about 15 minutes left. And I want to go back to the door and the baseboards, just to show you how I generally put baseboards around a door. And then that will be hopefully all completed by the next live stream. I say hopefully, but then life just gets away from me, and I try my best. That's an interesting sound. All right, well, I'm going to put the door in first, and then I'll show you guys. You can press it down with a dry iron. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, irons will do amazing things to materials. Just a little bit of heat can definitely solve some problems. It can also cause some problems too, so you have to be careful with it. Let me get my door. So this guy has dried and probably needs to be sanded. Yes, definitely needs to be sanded. And then I might go around and just kind of mark it up a little bit so that it doesn't look so crisp and clean. Usually doors get a lot of use and wear as it is in a house, especially a house that's supposed to be as aged as this guy. So I'm going to get it in there so you guys can see how it looks. Oops. Hold on. I'm going to go off screen a little bit here so the door can be on screen. So here's our door. And, oops, hand can't go in that way. So I think he looks pretty good. And it wasn't too much work to get him to fit. I'll show you what he looks like on the inside. So let's see how far he's sticking in. Okay, so he's sticking inside. See if I can turn it so you can see. About an 1/8 inch of the door is sticking in on the inside. So I'm going to kind of have to deal with that and figure out the best way to make a smooth transition from having a door frame kind of sticking into the room. But I am going to probably end up putting, because I want to make wood paneling on this area, there is going to be a little bit more width that ends up on this wall. So it's going to kind of hide the fact that this door is sticking in a little bit. This one is a little bit different story because this one just has wallpaper. So let me see if I can get the door in that one. See if it works in both openings. This one has carpet on both sides, which does make a difference because the carpet is a little bit floofier, and I didn't sand this one. So I may get this in and never get it out again. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to push too much. So here's how it will look on this guy. Let's see if it opens. Can I get my hand around there? I just want to see if it opens on the carpet because sometimes that can be an issue. Oh, it does open. That opens really, really well. Oop, looks like I still need to paint some pieces, but it opens really well. I was a little bit worried about it catching on the shag carpet, but it looks good, I think. And so I'll just have to figure out how to make a really good transition because it is sticking inside the room. And typically I don't think door frames do that. So just a quirk of buying these doors and just trying to figure out how to make them work in this project. Now the project itself, the kit itself, does come with its own doors that you can make. So you don't have to purchase these. I, of course, just thought it would be easier. So you could carry your baseboards around the other side of the doorway, giving the look of molding. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, and I think that's what I am probably going to do. The door comes with these pieces. And so typically the way they were installed in the Addams family house, I put these doors in, and then this piece sits on top of this piece, typically. Oh, it's a little bit wider than it should be. That's interesting. So maybe these are supposed to go on the outside. Okay, so these doors are way different. These doors are way different than the Addams family doors. So so I guess this door is supposed to stick into the room because these pieces are supposed to go around the outside edge, like so. But I might have to give it, like John said, a little bit of help because just add another step down layer of molding. So it might just look like a grand doorway with molding on it. We'll see. I could shave off a little bit of carpet. Thankfully, it does open and close with the carpet. And I think just cutting down the door like I did this one should work, I'm hoping. So putting baseboards around doors is around the bottom part of doors is pretty easy. And this one's really easy because this one's like right at the edge here, so I don't even need to put a baseboard right here. But let me find my baseboard piece. Just in case you are watching this specifically for baseboards and you get to a door, super easy. You just butt it up to the side. You don't have to cut an angle or anything. It just goes straight up to the side and bumps into the side of your door. And they don't have to be the same color, but it does look really cohesive when they are the same color. These lights, I'm trying to see if you can see that a little bit better. As the house grows, the filming it gets more and more complicated. So here's a baseboard, and it just butts into the side of the door frame here. And I'm still not sure if I'm keeping that piece, the railing. It just looks it just doesn't look very realistic to me. So I may end up chopping it off. I'm not sure how easy that's going to be, but I do think I kind of want to do something a little bit different here. But eventually I might make a baseboard run this way around here, but I don't know. If y'all have ideas, I'd love to hear them. But this railing at the top of the stairs, it came with it. It's part of the entire build of this bottom staircase. It's just connected onto the top, which helps you put the house together. But I just don't like the look of it. So trying to decide if I'm just going to cut off the top of it and add like a handrail, or if I'm going to cut off the whole thing and add like the spindles and the handrail. I don't really know. I know it's kind of hard for y'all to see. But this is definitely, y'all wanted to see the process of putting the house together. So this is my thought process that I go through and second guess myself, and just constantly go back and forth between trying to make decisions. But doing this in a live stream is helping me go a little bit faster because I don't want y'all to be bored. And I know I need to get certain things done before the next live stream. So probably the fastest I've ever built a dollhouse in my life, but still kind of feels like it's going a little bit slow every now and then because I have to stop and think and figure out what I want to do. But that's basically it for today. I will try and have all the baseboards done for next time. I will make a video this Friday over the half-scale brick idea. And anything else I said I was going to do? Y'all have been pretty quiet today. I mean, y'all have been chatting, but been a little bit quiet. Maybe everyone's a little bit tired from the weekend. I know I am. I don't know. I'm not ready to do baseboards on the attic yet because I still have not done this side of the floor. I have kind of been avoiding it because this is a lot of work to lay down all these pieces. But I like the look of it. Looks like I still need to add a little bit of paint here and there. Having a camera from the top view is often very helpful because it's not where I look most of the time. You could use a drill bit that's a little bit bigger than the slots in the railing to give it some more design. That's true. That's a good idea. I think if it did just have a little bit more intricacy, I would be happy with it, but it just looks very chunky. So that could definitely work. I just got to get a drill that will fit in there. Yeah, long weekend. Long weekend for me too, definitely. So I'm excited to make that video that will be helpful for this project. It's kind of a simple one for me. And I actually have a class that I'm teaching coming up in person. And so I've got to get that ready, and just 10,000 subscriber special is coming up. So I've got to get that going. And a lot of really, really good fun things are coming up. But I just gotta get them done. So anyway, oh, you've been spinning wool. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, so, whew, that was a lot of talking. I'm so glad you guys had a fun time, and I'm glad you enjoyed watching me put in some baseboards. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. We're finishing just a little bit early, but I know I gotta take my puppy outside, and as she grows, she won't be as needy, although she did good today. Just had to hold her once, and she did okay after that. I don't know where she is. I knew I'd tire her out for taking her outside, so. Thank you guys so much, And again, if you have an idea at some point, you can come back to the live stream and just put it in the description. Or in the comments, I'm always open to ideas. And obviously my brain's a little on pause this week, but definitely thank you guys for helping me out today. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing week. And I will see you in the next stream. I always say when that is. Let's see. That is going to be October 1st. Actually on the 1st, which is really exciting. I am going to do Addams Family October again. And I have so many Addams Family projects planned. I'm very excited about it. I think everyone enjoyed Addams Family October last year, so I'm excited to do it again. And if I had finished the project, we wouldn't have that opportunity. So super excited. Thank you, Pamela. Yes, we will all have a good rest. Stormy and I will go kick up our feet on the couch for a little while before we get back to work. You guys all have a wonderful day, and if you're in the Florida area, be super, super careful. Take care of yourselves, and yeah, just be careful. And I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you have an awesome Tuesday, or I'll see you guys on Friday when I post a video. Bye. There we go. Found the button.